Sawubona mbukeli, welcome to yet another exciting installment of uhlelo oluthanda kakhulu Yilungelo Lakho, uhlelo ke olukulethela izindaba zabathengi ezisematheni. Mbukeli, kuleli viki ke sibhekene nesinqumo senkantolo lapho i-National Credit Regulator ithole imvume ukuthi kungabe kusaba phela emthethweni ukuthi amabhange avangayithathele emalini yakho ukukhokhela phela izikweletu zabo ngaphandle kwemvume yakho. Eyakajali kwangcolosa ushongololo ngisaba ukulibamba ithi nje intokazi sanibonani sondelani nonke sifunde kokuthi imapha amalungelo enu this week. Ukhumbule mbukeli ukuthi emva kwekhefu ngizovula phela ingcingo nisithinte la studio 0117146918 or 71469199 consumer@sabc.co.za is our email address. Sikhona futhi on SMS, on Facebook as well as Twitter. Okwamanje asingene eshiqe odabeni namhlanje. Liyazi lokhu sekuyinjwayelo ukuthi ukhokhelwe umholo wakho ebhange lakho bese uzithola ungenamali yokuthi wenze izinto zakho, ukuthenga ugesi or petrol, ukudla, ngoba phela ibhange lakho liyithathele imali ukukhokhela izikweletu zakho. Kodwa ke lo mthetho omusha usuzosiza abaningi abathenga ukuthi phela basizakale emva kweminingi iminyaka behlukunyezwa amabhange abo, ngoba phela kuzomela manje uliphe imvume yebhange lakho ngaphambi kokuthi bazitike ngemali yakho bethi hey wena ubukoloda la sathatha imali yethu. Kodwa ke sibheke ukuthi uVuyisile Mdoda uphenye watholani.
Isigwebo senkundla ephakamileyo yaseGauteng sizisa isiqabu kubantu abavalwe ikodini ngamatyala emali. Umuntu ebesida kufumana isaziso emnxebeni sokuba imali okanye umrholo ungenile ebhankeni agcwala imigcobo esithi wagwetywa ndlala. Kodwa oluchulumanco belikhawuleza luphele kuba mzuzu ingenile ibiphinde iphume iye kwabo umntu anamatyala kubo. Ukuphepha lemeko abantu abaninzi ngoku bencamela ekuvukeni ezizulwini zobusuku bayokugaca ngakwi-ATM khona ukuze ithi imali ingena eakhawuntini umntu wayo ayikhuphe yonke ngoko nangoko. Ithi ibhanka okanye ivenkile ethile ifuna ukutsala imali njengesiqhelo kube kungekho nepeni emdaka eakhawuntini. Ukuzikhusela kulo mkhuba ithi imali ingena ibhanka zenze indlela yokuba uthi uyifumana zibe zona seziyithathile yazo kuqala. Le nto ibichana kakhulu abantu basemva ngamatyala afana nawendlu, credit card okanye naliphi na ityala olufune kwibhanka yakho. Ngoko iba nombono xa izicwangciso zakho bezilindeleyo inkuntyula endaweni yoko suke kufike imvuthuluka okanye kungafiki kwanto esandleni sakho. Yile meko esusa amagosa eziko lilawula indlela yokuboleka nokubolekisa ngemali i-National Credit Regulator. Eli ziko lithi abantu bachana kakhulu xa befika imali ebilindelwe ingekho eakhawuntini. Lithi noxa ibhanka inegunya lokutsala imali xa umntu esemva ngentlawulo, loo nto kufuneka yenziwe ngendlela. Ingaba loo ndlela iqulathe ntoni? Uvuyisile Mdoda, Yilungelo Lakho.
Short and sweet, asibonge kakhulu kuinsizwa uVuyisile Mdoda ngokusihlanganisela lo mbiko. Manje ke mbukeli ukukhuluma kabanzi ngodaba la namhlanje asamukele uMr Nikki Mohan, yena ke niyamazi uyi-credit ombudsman. Sinayo nosisi uNosipho Zikishe, yena ke niyamazi futhi uvela lapha kwi-National Credit Regulator. We're also pleased to be joined by isishoshovi samalungelo enu bathengi. I'm talking about none other than ubaba Elias Shamatla. Ladies and gentlemen, what a pleasure. Good afternoon to each and everyone of you. Welcome.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Look, Nikki, let's start with you. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen you around with us for some time, but very quickly, what does the Ombudsman, the Credit Ombudsman's office do?
We resolve disputes between consumers and credit providers in the non-bank space. We also do credit information. We do it free of charge, and there's a process to follow, and we are a regulated body recognized by the Financial Sector Conduct Authority.
All right. Ntokazi, sisinosipho sitshele wena i-NCR siyazi ukuthi nihambile nayo ecaleni laphayana nathola isivumelwano. Maybe awusithi fahla Ntokazi ukuthi kahle umsebenzi wenu mayelana nodaba lethu lanamhlanje uhlangana kanjani?
Udaba lothu lisisela namhlanje kulungelo lakho, it's about set off iset of besihleli nje sisilwa nama credit providers ukuthi ama complaints esibawathola officeini lethu bebeka sithi ibhenki ethize ithathe imali yami and zange sibe nesivumelwano yebo nginaso isikolo ndinalityala nabo but ekugqibeleni bathathe imali bazobhadala elotyala. So thina ke ngosingu National Credit Regulator siye sangenelela sabona ba sathatha zonke ezi complaints sabona ba kanye isuka kweyiphi direction nyani safumanisa ba ama consumers abathengi banali icala because i-act yethu i-clear ukuthi ayikho le ndaba yokuthi common law set of ungazi uzothatha imali ngenxa yokuthi zange nibhadale ikhona but yet i-National Credit Act iyabakhosela abathengi ithi before kuthathwe nayiphi na imali kwi-account yakho befana ba wena as umthengi unaso isivumelwano sokuthi bangayithatha leyo mali. So sikhona ke ngokuba masiprotect i-rights ze-consumers as far as ukuthathwa kwemali e-accountini.
Maybe Sisi, we'll backtrack a bit in a short while to understand ukuthi yini mhlambe enise ukuthi nize niye enkantolo ukuthi nithole lesi sinqumo. But Elias, wena uyayibona i-insight insizwa, what do you think about this ruling? I guess understand isabantu ukuthi this is a ruling from court. Athini ama implications ale ruling? Sikujabulele lokho?
Yeah, too much. I'm very excited about the ruling because of the issues that we have come across. If I can give you an example now, one lady who is the former CEO of one of the SOEs was suspended without pay.
Yes.
Obviously, she defaulted on her credit agreements, that is the bond, the car, and everything else. And then she received her money later on. And when she received the money, 350,000 rand into her account, the bank applied set-off. They took 350,000 rand to settle her bond. Guess what happened afterwards? The Homeowners Association, where she stays, because she's staying in an estate, she was in arrears with 6,000 rand. Wow. They sequestrated her because of that set-off. Because she was going to pay off everybody, but the bank took the money for themselves, not for all the products, for one product only, and then this led to her sequestration.
Okay. All right. Now, Nikki, let's talk about this ruling. Maybe let's try and understand what the previous set of rule or law was in terms of the application to banking and people's salaries.
The previous law related to issues of where you have debt with one party. And
one party being the one bank.
Okay.
So let's say that's your car, that's your
so you have
insurance,
various credit facilities with that bank.
Okay.
And most commonly you'd have a mortgage bond with them. You'll have a personal loan. You'll have a credit card, and you'll have vehicle finance.
Yes.
Okay. And then you would have instances where, say you default on your credit card, and you owe them money. On your salary date, they would just take the money for them. Or if you bank with them in their current account, they would just take the money without your consent.
Yes, I've been there,
The
Nikki.
important point is that it was without your consent.
Absolutely true.
So you would just find yourself in a position that you expected to pay certain things, you meet some commitments, all of a sudden there's no money there because the bank took it to satisfy its debt. This now changes that to the extent that doesn't mean they can't do it. They've got to ask your permission. Now the question is, what position are you going to be in to say no? Who is in the higher authority here? And that needs to be, because there's going to be duress here. That needs to be addressed because they're going to ask you, Alicia, can you please give us permission to take the money?
No.
And they'll say no. You say no.
I have other creditors to pay.
But then the relationship between the two of you is going to break down. And if you get into further arrears, they won't hesitate to take legal action against you. But Alicia, we must also be very mindful that this judgment is going to be appealed. It's going to be appealed. It's their intention to appeal it. So it's a great win for consumers, but I think it's a temporary one.
For how long?
Let's see. But you see, at the end of the day, we always say that if you are in difficulty, You be proactive. You call them and tell them. Don't let them control you. You control them to the extent that they will listen to you. So if you know that you can't meet that credit card payment, call the bank. Put it on record so that they don't just take action against you unilaterally. So that is that's what the position was, what it is right now, but great win for consumers, but it's going to be
temporarily. Oh, okay. I guess mbukela umbuzo ukuthi njengoba esho uNikho ukuthi kuzobe kuyisikhathi esingakanani sisathi sisajabulele lokuthi ibhenki ngeke lisakwazi ukuvanela ingene lithatha imali yakho ngaphandle kwemvume yakho ngoba phela engathi kusazoba nama appeals nani kodwa ke sizodiscuss more details shortly after this break. Ungayindawo ilungelo lakho on SABC 1. Welcome back mbukeli ubheke ilungelo lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Namhlanje ke mbukeli sikhuluma ngomkhuba omdala ukuthi amabhange phela vanangene njengendlovu yangena kuma account abathengi azitapele imali ngaphandle kwemvume. Uthi wena uyabheka lapho month end awusenamali awusakhona ukuthenga gas njengoba besho ubhuti Elias ukuthi omunye umama baze bacishe ukuthi baze bamseva ama notice ngoba engazange azakhokhela ama levies la ehlala khona ngoba phela ibhange elivanela thatha imali yonke isamba njengoba ingene ebhange la isebenzela lona la ibonela ukuthi lenzani ngayo. Ngihlalelana lala Mohead the credit ombud Nosipho Zikishe from the National Credit Regulator nobhuti uElias Shamatla isishoshovi samalungelo abathengi. Nosipho uyamuzwa ubaba uNikhi lana uthi this ruling of course might be appealed. So I guess usichazele intokazo kwamanje as of now, does this ruling apply to all creditors and for how long in your knowledge?
Okwangoku siyamvutata uba uthini. Ewe obviously ama-bank azaw-exercise i-rights zabo. If bayafuna abide by the decision, they'll abide by the decision. But i-status quo njengoba simile apha sithetha i-court i-decidile seyisibekile isinqumo esasinqumo si-applya kuwo wonke umuntu okuthiwa i-credit provider or registered under i-National Credit Act. So iya-applya kuzo zonke i-bank, whether i-financial services sector where credit is extended, iya-applya i-decision. So sisizawulinda ke sive kubo. Obviously zikhona i-processes funeke bahambe process. I think it's 15 days after the High Court has already decided. So sisaba if there's no appeal, there's no note to appeal at that stage in time. Bazofuna ukuthi bahambe ngokuthi yes.
Okay, but Elias wena mocabanga lo mthetho lo akade uchaza ubaba uNikhi ubuhlambe ubahlukumeza kanjani abathengi?
If I can give you another case study.
Yes.
There's a gentleman in Midrand who is a social worker, all right? He works for the NGO and salaries were delayed. And as a result, he defaulted on his car installments. Last week on Wednesday, the bank went to repossess his vehicle without a court order. He didn't know his rights, he surrendered the vehicle. Right. And then the salary came in on Saturday last week. On Monday, they applied set off. They took 7,000 rand.
What?
On Wednesday, they took the car. On Monday, they took 7,000 rand out of 15,000 rand that he earns. He still has to pay the bond. He still has to pay for essential living expenses. He can't. So those are the things that affect the consumers negatively. Because remember, he has got insurances. He won't be able to pay the insurances.
And there's living expenses.
Yes.
Yeah.
And something happens, like it happened with another bank, whereby they applied set-off and the consumer failed to pay the insurance and the two-story building burned down and the insurance refused to pay because they were not paid because of the set-off.
Nikki, would you say as a credit ombudsman, would you support this current ruling to be something that is going to be long term? I mean, what do you think about this?
Undoubtedly, I think that was the intention.
Yeah.
The intention of the National Credit Act was there to protect consumers as well.
Absolutely.
And, you know, the section is quite clear, Section 106, in terms of which it's dealt with, the whole set of things. And, you know, the point about it is that it's unfair on somebody. But the consent part is an important one. You know, we're going into legislation, lots of things, where your consent is required for everything.
True.
You heard of POPI, the Protection of Personal Information Act?
Yes.
Again, consent-based. So it's an engagement. They can't just unilaterally be high-handed on you. They need to engage you. They need to talk to you. They need your approval. Because what they should be doing in those instances that Elias is raising is that they should be contacting you and saying, look, how best can you solve this?
Yes.
Give me a chance. Give me 3 months. I'll do it in 3 installments. I'll do it in 6 installments. Certainly, if you default in that instance, then, okay, they have their right to do. But I think the point about it is that you've got to show some humanity. You know, we're not showing that humanity in terms of compassion, of dealing with your customer fairly.
You know,
and it's all part of treat customers fairly. You know, it's the whole Market Conduct Authority and the Financial Sector Conduct Authority will look into it. It's a cornerstone of doing business. Treat customers fairly.
But then, Nikki, you were talking about, and I want the rest of the panel to get into this, you were talking about how now this, if the bank was to ask me as their customer for consent, and I said no, it's going to deteriorate that relationship between myself, resulting in legal action and so forth. So where does this then place the bank as a lender in a world where we know that there's some very people that are not very, like reckless borrowers, so to speak?
I'm glad you raised that because when they engage you to ask for your consent, you're going to say no, but you're going to say that I may be able to do it next month.
Yes.
So you'll be given an opportunity. Firstly, it's brought to your attention. Secondly, an opportunity is afforded to you because you'll say, no, I can't do it now because that's but I will do it next month or the following month. You know, give them some, at least there's an engagement there.
Yes.
Not just an electronic zap. Which literally
is that even possible under this new judgment?
I call it a Pac-Man.
This is very important in the consent.
Yes.
Because we are I can't be able to pay it. Because obviously we are to default till last month and this month you're trying to catch up.
Yes.
You will pay low this much, low so you want to restructure. So if the whole money without you having an opportunity to restructure yourself up to a state where you can be able to pay, I think that's a bit unfair. So Tinasi regulator Sibone in that instance, you as a person who entered into this agreement, you have the same equal rights as the person who's expecting you to deliver.
Elias, besikhuluma ngokuthi you would recommend ukuthi ama-consumers angathathi yonke into under the same bank, for example, ukuthatha home loan, house loan, in credit cards zonke lezi zinto. Why you njalo nsizwa?
It's an open secret that, for example, all the consumers that are under debt review, they get told that if your salary account is with the bank that you owe money to, you better close that account and go elsewhere. That's why the bank in Cape Town grew quickly because of that, because they didn't apply set-offs. So all the consumers went there. The reason being, when your money is here, these guys, they can see it at any given time.
Yeah,
they can give it, they
at
can
12
take it in.
o'clock nifaki SABC, ngivuka ekuseni ngasekho.
On the 15th, the banks work over time.
Yeah.
They run around with the yellow slips, they call them journal entries.
Yes.
Whereby they're going to debit your account to credit whatever account they will. In Gahiso here, in Krugerstop, a mother passed away. Her son went to the insurance to claim the funeral cover. The policy paid into his account, they took all of it.
Oh my My goodness. Yo, mbukela cha zimbi ngempela lezo indaba. Yazi sasiqhubeka sidinga idalo lodaba lokuthi lo mutheqo okanye isinqumo esisha esithi mbukeli ibhange alisakhona ukuthi livane liyitikizele nje ngemali yakho lithathe lithi cha sikhokhela ukuthi nokuthi ngoba wena ungabanikezanga isivume kuthiwa lo mthetho ke ngathi uzobe ubhekele wena. Let's talk more about this topic shortly after this break. What am I saying? Mbukeli, we want to hear your experiences ukuthi wena sewake wathola umholo ebhange lakho uthi uyokhipha imali ngakusasa dololo akusekho ngisho isenti ngoba phela ibhanki lithathe yonke imali lathi cha uyakhumbula usikoloda for leya credit card leya home loan leya moto in zonke lezo zinto sithinte 0117146918 or 71469119 consumer@sabc.co.za is our email address sikhona futhi ku Facebook na ku Twitter. All right, so maybe let's go into this. The issue of consent, it's very important. Sis no supposed to consent. What if umuntu engafuni ke ukuthi ibank limfonele? Like what if umuntu akafuni ukudila directly nebank in terms of giving them permission or not? Athi nje lalela imali engene ku account yami imali account yami. Do I then have to still take those calls and explain to the bank that no, not this month, maybe next month ngizoba nemali?
Esifuna ukusho nathi singu national credit regulator yokuthi as much as sizama ukuthi ama credit providers must lend responsibly.
Yes.
Consumers also have an obligation to use their money responsibly. We also want to encourage our consumers to pay their debts on time. Right? And then under the National Credit Act, there's further protection for the consumer. If you are unable to pay your debts, go quit debt review. If you're unable now to enter into informal negotiations with your bank to say, yes, please, let's rearrange our debit order so that I can pay. You need to be a responsible consumer. You need to pay your debts on time. We encourage our consumers to. There's no way uthi ungaboleka imali and then the next thing ungayibhadali. It's going to also have a future financial impact kuwe. Your credit score and your credit information will show bangaba you had been defaulting, and if you don't catch up soon, when you want to pay or want to buy a property in future on credit, you will be declined based on the information that is available that you as a consumer are not fixing. So sisiyane encourage ukuthi nibhadale on time to avoid set off. Set off was used by banks as a last resort to recover. So you don't want to see your situation you don't want to see yourself in such a web of unpaid debt.
Yeah. Nikki, do you see compliance from within the creditors, the relevant creditors, particularly banks?
Yes, there will be. They'll have to. It's law.
Yeah.
But Alicia, there's a similar thing that is taking place in prescription. You know, a debt prescribes after 3 years.
All right. All right. Nikki, just hold that thought. We're going to take another quick ad break. In Mbugeli, we're coming back and taking your calls and messages. We're back shortly after this. Welcome back. Mbukeli sadinga idaba lokuthi lo muthetho omusha okanye lesinqumo esithathwe inkantolo sokuthi phela amabhanka ngabe sakwazi ukuvane afake lesandla sabo esikhulu in your account bathi bakhokhela izikweleti zabo. That's if you have a home loan, a credit card, nani under the same bank. Uthi muthola isamba semali sebeyayihosha without your consent wena uyithola ungasele ngisho nemali yokuthi ungafaka upetrol, let alone ukuthenga ukudla. Ungasifonela ke usithinte ocingweni, usithinte on SMS, usithinte futhi on our social media networks. Nikki, before I come back to that clarity on how the compliance is going to be, particularly from banks, let's quickly take our first caller. I do have Shane all the way from Elagwa Banana from Durban. Hello, Shane.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. I'm not in a very good place, man, because of the set-off.
What happened, Shane?
Okay, I was unemployed, and I did take up a loan.
Yes.
So coming through, I did make arrangements with the guy saying that I'm unemployed, I don't have money coming in because the cost of living now is hard. I've got 3 kids and everything with me. So it came last week that I got some money from my preservation fund.
Yes.
And they zapped it. Like, out of 15,000 rand, they just took out 5,000 rand without me knowing at all.
And Shane, how does that make you feel? I mean, if you call the bank, are you banking? Are all your creditors with one bank?
I've only got one bank, and that's the only loan I have.
Yeah.
And because I was unemployed, and I'm still currently unemployed, that, you know what, that money is my living money.
Yeah. So what do you think about this new ruling, Shane? Do you think it's going to aid you in any way?
It will assist a lot of people. A lot of people. These banks are like gangsters. They just take money from me anywhere they can, without our permission.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Shane. Does Shane still have any recalls? I mean, he says this thing happened last week, Sis Nosip.
The judgment does not have a retrospective effect. The
Okay.
judgment was passed down, I think, last week.
Last week, yes.
But we must just check the dates so that it doesn't overlap.
Okay.
Because as soon as the judgment was granted and handed down,
Okay.
that is exactly when consent was required.
All right,
So, yeah, he would still, we need to have a look at his matter. Perhaps you guys can channel it through to us just to have a look.
All right. So, Shane, I hope you're still listening from Durban. We want to see, the NCR wants to check the date that, of course, your set-off was actually instituted, because they're saying that if it was instituted after the ruling, that means that you are actually safe, and that bank will actually be compelled to return your money to you. All right. So, but Elias, I mean, it seems like this is into eyenzakalayo kubantu bonke, and you can't say ukuthi when you're exempted, there's a high unemployment rate in the country. A lot of people are struggling to pay ama debts wabo. A lot of people are defaulting on ama account wabo. So once that money comes, isifika isizosho, kumele senze njani ke so that these banks don't go ukuthi bahambe bayothatha imali zethu, besides the fact that sebezodinga isivumelwano now.
Okay, to add on to what Nikki has said,
Yes.
It's very important for the consumers to talk to the banks.
Yes.
And say, you know what, I'm unemployed currently. However, I'll keep you up to date on monthly basis or quarterly basis or half yearly as to where I stand right now. If you receive the money like this, you talk to them and say, I've received 15,000 rand. Can you please keep 250 rand and release the rest?
Yes.
You know, and make an arrangement to say, going forward, can we conclude an arrangement of about 100 rand a month? That's all that I can afford. At least they are safe because you are interrupting prescription by paying that 100 rand.
Okay.
And remember, we have got a threshold in terms of the right of policies
Yes.
within the banks.
Okay.
For a certain amount, they cannot take legal action. They will accept anything that you offer, provided you come forward and say, this is where I am, I can only afford this much.
What is the certain amount that you're talking about roughly, Elias?
Some of them, they've got like 8,000 rand threshold. If you owe anything less than 8,000 rand, they want to go to court because it will be chasing good money with bad money.
That's true, because we all know the whole court processes are quite long, and banks don't actually want to go the court route. Bafuna ukuthi wena uze uyisettlishele izinto because they know the 3 months going up and down court. Look, let's talk about this, Nikki. Back to what I was saying in terms of compliance before we got rudely cut off before the break. Do you foresee any future compliance with the banks? Because now it looks like they are in a disposition.
There will have to be compliance because it's a national law, it's a ruling, and you've got to abide by the law.
Okay.
Citizens
So they are
and
compelled.
corporations, they're compelled.
Okay.
But there was something else I wanted to pick up on,
Yes.
which is a similar instance of consent with prescription. The debt prescribes after 3 years, but the book is sold to a debt collector. He calls you, they call you, they tell you, by the way, we know that this is prescribed, but do you still want to pay us? To overcome that. Elias, are you finding those instances that take place?
And people are going to...
The law is quite clear. After 3 years, you may not collect the debt.
Yes.
They call you and say, look, we know this is prescribed, but we want the money.
So what should consumers do then, Nikki?
You don't consent to anything. You just don't agree to anything in that regard.
Okay.
But and then takes it to a further position.
And in regards to banks, what happens to them? Because they're seeing the money there, but then can their debt now be prescribed as well?
Once the debt is prescribed, it's prescribed. No matter who it is, it's 3 years, period, from your last acknowledgement.
Okay.
That's the law.
And what would happen in between? It means you're not using this certain bank account.
And there's another case that we're going to refer the consumer to, Nikki.
Yes.
Because what happens here, in this instance, the bank applied set off, and then they say to the consumer, but you paid.
How?
They interrupted the prescription.
Yes.
After 3 years.
Yes.
They-
And they said the person paid because they actually instituted
Yes.
set off.
That's
Is that
unfair.
correct, though?
It's unfair now.
Because the person was not willingly paying.
No, it wasn't with your knowledge.
Oh my
It wasn't
goodness.
with your knowledge, wasn't
And
with
how
your
do you
consent.
challenge these then? Sis Nosipho, we challenge kanjani? Like, what is the first call of order? Mubona ukuthi hayibo nali bank selingithathela imali, and then the next thing bazongitshela, like in this case where they're saying, yeah, but wena ukhokhile, whereas I did not authorize any debit for this amount ebanking lami.
Sicacise sis Alicia, i-compliance issue ye regulator.
Yeah.
The regulator yona yiyo ethatha indaba ye non-compliance on all registrants. Banks, xa ndisithi banks, you can take credit providers.
Yebo, ma.
So sithi aba-investigatayo ezi issues ze-non-compliance. Ukucacisa indaba ye-prescription, in terms of umthetho wethu, National Credit Act, awukwazi uthengisa ityala that has been prescribed. You can't sell a debt that has prescribed. And nawe lo muntu uthengayo, you cannot collect on that debt. Iclear nje umthetho. So if kukho ezi instances ama-consumers are unsure ngazo okanye are faced okanye bangqamelene nazo ezi instances, they have to be reported ku National Credit Regulator. Njengale case set of sayisa sade salwa siyofika ezinkundleni nje kukulwa kwethu si protector i-rights as a consumer. And in this instance as well, if kukho ama-consumers are faced ngalento sizawulwa side siyoma e-court for i-rights as a consumer. Si protectana ne-consumers.
Mbukela, I hope we understand lapho le prescription ekhulunywa ngayo isikoloto esesisidala esesidlule iminyaka emithathu lapho ilokhuzana icreditor yakho ibhanke yabantu bemoto in kade bengakufoneli bekunikeza ama letters bethi kuwena khokha le mali kusho ukuthi nje there was no communication between wena nalo creditor. It means ukuthi after 3 years lo debt isi prescribe akusekho umuntu ozokufonela athi siyazi ukuthi prescribe lento sicela still uyikhokhele. Johan, do we have those Facebook messages? Do we? We don't have them. All right, let's quickly continue here. So let's talk about now the ruling. It's from the South Gauteng High Court, Sis Nosipho. It affects agreements that consumers have in other jurisdictions.
Umthetho we National Credit Act une jurisdiction throughout the Republic.
So it's a national
It's a
thing.
national, yes.
Okay.
So ayinayo ba
Durban, Limpopo, kuyafana yonke indawo. This ruling applies to all of you. I hope ulalele Shane, because they said we want to see ukuthi wena what your complaint was. Kubeka Ntokazi before we take Facebook.
So umthetho wethu ke applies throughout the Republic, no
Okay.
jurisdiction. So it doesn't matter bangaba yephi inkundla etake AP precedent. In this instance zonke banks, zonke credit providers zizafuneka zihambe ngokomthetho.
All right. Oh, these are good news. Usibusiso Phesi uthi, I also had the same problem. I'm a student and my mother sent me transport money, and in my account I had no money at all. When I went to withdraw, my money was no longer enough for transport since the bank had deducted its money, and I had to borrow money from friends. So, Nikki, this does really put the poorest of people in even more dire situations.
Undoubtedly, undoubtedly. But thinking about it, it's similar to what they used to do with garnishee orders when they took your entire salary.
Yeah.
And now we've got a cap on it.
Yeah.
That you have to leave 25% in the account for living expenses. So unless you have legislative intervention, that's the only time things change. And the regulators and the law is coming to the aid of consumers who are in dire circumstances to put the balance right.
You know, I like this because it doesn't mean that always the defaulting consumers are the ones that are not particularly proactive when it comes to their debts, but it's the situation that has landed them in those situations. But we know, somebody was telling us 2 weeks ago, Nikki, that banks are never your friend. So you can give them money that you want, but when you need them to be on your side, they never ever going to hear you out. Dikeledi says it also happened to my father last month's salary, 10,000 rand. They deducted money and my father was left with 1,600 rand. Can you imagine? He didn't even manage to pay for my fees. Do we have any more Facebook messages? Just the last one. Okay, this is the last one. I mean, this is crazy. Sis Nosepo, what do you think?
Uyazibonela nawe nje sis Alicia. So udeducta in fact from i-breadwinner.
So
Umuntu
was
ozafuneka
ilezi izinto ama-complaint mhlawumbe enza ukuthi nithathe le nto nize nifike kuyona enkantolo ntokazi.
yiyo kanye leyo.
So this one actually is simple. Is to talk to the credit provider, to the bank consent, to say, let's conclude an arrangement because at least he's working. He's earning 10,000 rand a month. He can say, this is my budget. Can you please keep 200 rand a month?
Yeah.
And refund that one that you have taken.
But banks never want to listen.
And sometimes kunzima because now uzoya pha kwi-branch bathi sizasithumela isicelo sakho kwi-head office.
Exactly, and then it's going to be
Then izicelo koko kuzawulinda.
Up until wena beze bekufikela nama-letters of summons. Bukela sithatha another quick ad break. Siyabuya futhi shortly after this break. This is our final segment. Ingabe ngisamosha isikhathi. Ngisahleli ne-credit ombudsman uMr. Lala Mohan, ngihleli nentokazi ye-NCR National Credit Regulator Nosipho Zekishe nesishoshovi samalungelo enu ubhodi u-Elias Shamatla. So maybe let's just look at some of the things that people can look at around this whole set off law or process. Does now this set off ngikuzwile Nosipho khuluma ngelo khuzana nge-debt review process. How does it then affect umuntu that is already on that debt review process?
Okay, it's even worse apho. Befana ba abatsali tu i-set off because kakade kukho i-debt counselor kunye ne-bank.
Meaning there's arrangements
so there is
that
an
are
arrangement.
firmly in place.
They're firmly in place.
Yes.
And then upon, let's say mhlawumbe before i-consumer ingasabhatali under debt review. And mhlawumbe seka-cancelishile naku kwi-debt review. So he's outside the debt review process. Still, you need to make arrangements nale consumer bangaba nizawubhatalana njani ke ngoku nje now that you are no longer under debt review. Even under debt review, it's not acceptable. In fact, it's not acceptable in the set off if you are under debt review because you are already paying in terms of that arrangement. So if we default, yenza ke ngoku ezinye arrangement in a bank.
But Nikki, I mean, with banks, I mean, how open are they to you coming to them and saying, I want to make an arrangement upon arrangement upon arrangement when you know that things are just not going well. And then the only way or recourse to actually secure any money is the money that comes into account. So I think let's maybe look at their point of view in this instance as well.
It depends on their credit policy in terms of collection.
Yeah.
Normally, the first 30 days is a bit soft. It's a soft call, a soft letter. If you don't respond, they're going to go to 60 days. And because you're not cooperating, then they're going to start the set off in issuing summons. Basically, most policies, after 6 months, no contact, it's legal action all the way. So it's best that consumers get in touch with them. Because when you do, they have that first port of call.
Yes.
And they quite, they listen to you. Because they'd rather get something than nothing.
Yeah.
So it's always wise for consumers to be proactive. You know, don't dig your head in the sand.
And say now I'm
Because
insulated against the set-off.
the problem won't go away. The problem won't go away because even if you're really in dire circumstances, there are mechanisms in terms of the National Credit Act and one of debt review or debt counseling. You know, you can exercise that right. And just on the point that we mentioned earlier, that whilst you in debt review and they do set-off, that's illegal. They can't do that. Because, like the sister mentioned, you had fixed an agreement.
Yeah.
You as a bank had agreed to take this amount from me in terms of the debt review. You understand why I'm in debt review, because I'm unable to pay all my debts.
Yes.
And this is the manner in which I'll solve to pay this debt. So what they're doing, that action of set off is an illegal action. And
So
you
what
can
can
take
people
action.
do?
They
What
can
can
come
they
to
do,
our
Nikki?
office for assistance.
Okay.
And you know, we can make a ruling on that to the extent that what you did is not correct.
And can those people be able to recover those monies
Yes.
then if they do come
Yes.
to your office?
Yes. You apply the
Okay.
law. You see, we use the law, we use fairness, and we use equity. So you apply the law, and this is the law. It's
You know what I'm getting from this, Nosipho Naput Elias, is that our banks have been unfair on consumers for a pretty long time, and it's been continuing unabated. But now that there's suddenly measures to cap how much they actually can tap into imali yethu, there's now suddenly resistance nabo. They're coming with counter this and counter that. Uthini wena Bhuti Elias sama consumer yizini izinto ekumele sizenze besides what ubaba Uniki is saying, just to as additions ukuthi senze sure ukuthi nathi we are protected, so that when the bank says summons and say, but no, I came and tried to negotiate with you guys, you refused to negotiate for another further 3-month settlement or to rearrange my whole settlement plan altogether.
Okay, first of all, when you make an arrangement with them, whatever you propose it in writing.
Okay.
Because you can be able to escalate it.
Yes.
Because if the consultant that you are dealing with is not willing to assist you, when you escalate to the team leader or to the manager, most likely they are going to listen to you.
Yes.
Do you know why? Because the courts are no friends to the banks anymore.
Yeah.
When they go to magistrate court, I've been there, I've seen it, the magistrate stands for the consumer. If the consumer made an arrangement or proposed to make an arrangement to repay, and you do not accept that arrangement, yet you come to court to sue this consumer, the court says, please get out there and go and conclude the arrangement. I don't have time for this. You know? So if you have got a proof or evidence that I attempted to make an arrangement, most probably they will listen to you. The thing is that they work on what is called age analysis.
Yes.
If you are a debt collector within the bank, you are not allowed to keep the account that is older than 3 months.
Yes.
Because you're going to be penalized. You're not going to get your bonus in November or December. Right? So you will go after the consumer because you want to get rid of this account.
Yes.
So now, if you have got a reasonable offer and this person is not listening to you because he wants a bonus at the end of the year, escalate this to the manager.
Sis Nosip, maybe talk to me about this. Le sort of clause le iyayichaza or ayayichaza ama-bank when you actually take a credit. Are they stipulated ukuthi bayichaze as muyovula account ukuthi lalela njengoba uthatha all these home loans, credit cards nani? Are you aware of the fact that mangena imali thina sizoyithathela regardless of how much you need for living expenses?
Into siyibonile yona sisi-Alicia kwi-investigations zethu ikhona ipha kwe-credit agreement. It's very small.
Ikwi-fine print.
Ikwi-fine print le nawo ungasoze uyilantuko uyibe uyifunda uzobe ufuna imali. Ikhona iphaya kwi-fine print. Kudala izikhona pha kweza credit agreement, but into abangakhange bayenze ibank kuthatha that provision, because i-act is clear ku section 124. You need to have a consent a consumer. It's always been there since sifikile ku 2005.
Yes.
So i-banks ke ngokwazi ukucaciseli kahle. Now awufundi uyatyikitya. The next thing you are in default, but it's part of your credit agreement, it's there. So kubalulekile ukuthi ufunde qala as a consumer. Uz understand, but I understand uba soze uyazi bangaba yintoni lento bathetha ngayo apha, because la English yona qala ayikho clear and it's not simple to understand.
Nikki, we're talking about this set
I'm
of
following.
exactly the clause. Like,
Absolutely.
whose onus is it? Was the bank supposed to, in the current administration or law, legal terms, weren't they supposed to disclose to the consumer that, listen, if you are taking all these loans with us, please note that whenever you get 50,000 Rand or a lot of money in your account, we are going to insulate ourselves first before you.
It's a fine print clause. It's there. And at the point about it is at the time of the conclusion of the contract, you can't foresee what's going to happen to you.
That's true.
And even if they tell you, you'll say, okay. Because you're not foreseeing the difficult circumstances coming there. Right now, you're okay. But it's when you're in the difficult circumstance that you find yourself in trouble.
You know what they do on the home loans?
Yeah.
When you have sold your property and you want to cancel the bond, they include all those unsecured debts in the cancellation figures.
We're talking about that the other week, ukuthi bahlanganisa, and then suddenly you have 200,000 rand that is outstanding when you've actually made a settlement amount. So you need to be cognizant of that as well, Mbugeli. Utebogo Shika, Uti, I hear the gentleman saying that after 3 years they must stop bothering us. They still do after 6 years, and that still appears on TransUnion. Why? Truth is that it's not that one doesn't want to pay. We are unemployed and have no money. You tell them every time they call that you're still unemployed. They still send those threatening SMSs and the rude third-party call center agents. Let's talk about this. Nikki?
That's squarely what we do in our office. We can certainly assist her. All she has to do is 44786 and as an SMS. We'll call her back. We get a lot of 44786.
44786.
Just send an SMS. We will call you back.
All right.
But that's exactly what we deal with on a daily basis.
All right, no, but 6 years is a long time. Mbugeli, unfortunately, sesifikele emaphethelweni ohlelo lethu. What a busy show ke namhlanje sasheshe saqeda. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We are live next week Monday. I think uSimphiwe uzobe khona la from 12 to 1. From me Ntokazi yakajali nikhumbula ukuthi ikhona impinde ohlelo lethu every Thursday khona la SABC 1 from 11 to 12 ebusuku. From us la studio neteam Yilungelo Lakho nisale kahle. Hey, hambani nibuzisise ngalama set off umtshela ibank ukuthi you can't get into my money. Bye bye.
Yilungelo